Welcome to our series of help videos on the Cancer Data Explorer. We're going to be looking at the mortality data contained within these dashboards, how to go about digging around and accessing it, and what options I have. You'll note when we move to the mortality tab of the dashboard that we have a similar setup to that was evident on the incidents tab. We've got three tabs at the top with the counts, just the number of people who've died. We've got the rates, or the proportion of people dying, and the age-standardised rates, which we previously discussed is used to account for changes in the age structure of different populations, whether it's ageing over time or differences between geographical areas. I'm going to quickly show some of the functionality that's available, and we'll look at deaths in males and females. And if we switch to that view, you'll note that there were more males than females who died from cancer over this last 5-year period. The pattern of how old they are when they die is quite similar, but you can see that it does start to diverge here once you get over age 55. But both males and females have increased the risk of death with age. Really, what we'd like to do though is compare these as rates. And this is where you can see that, in fact, the risk of death does increase with age for both males and females, although the risk does tend to not be, or so the increase is not quite so substantial for females as for males. I'm going to quickly dig into lung cancer as an example. And then I'm going to go back and look at the historical data all the way back to 1982, from the start of the Queensland Cancer Registry. Start with the counts just to get an introductory look. And we can see here that the number of deaths due to lung cancer has gone up quite substantially over the last 40 or so years. In fact, there were only about 130 females who died from lung cancer back in 1982, and now we have over 850. Whereas males have gone from about 650 through to about 1250. So similar patterns of increase, I guess, in terms of raw numbers, but that is quite a jump in terms of the actual percentage jump. Again, we can see similar patterns in terms of how old males and females are when they die from lung cancer. So the most common age of death is in your 70s here for both men and women. But as before with the incidents, the really interesting information is contained within the rates page. And you can see that while the rate of mortality for males seems to be fairly flat over that 40-year period, this is where we can see, even after we adjust for the growing population within Queensland, that mortality rate for females is going up and up and up over time. So it was about 11 back in 1982, and it's now 33 in 2019. So that's a threefold increase in deaths over the 40-year period. Now, we also know that the population has been ageing over that period, and so while this trend for males looks fairly flat, with an ageing population we might suspect that it was probably going to go up even if the underlying rate of mortality was the same. And so when we look at the age-standardised rates here, that's what we observe. So once we adjust for the differences in age, we can see in fact there's been quite a dramatic decrease in lung cancer mortality for men. And we still see that same increase in lung cancer mortality for women, and that gap has narrowed. You can see back from 75 for males and only 12.6 for females, down to now 43 and 26. So where the mortality rate was about 6 times higher for males in 1982, now it's less than twice as high. And at some stage those lines may come together. But overall, if we were to look at the pattern for all Queenslanders, you can see that the trend is going down. And so you would expect that as time goes on, perhaps those two lines will come closer together, but the effect of smoking cessation programs is starting to take hold, where we know that the lead time for the development of lung cancer is fairly lengthy, And so those quit smoking programs that sort of began in the maybe 80s or 90s are starting to have an effect now with the decrease in mortality, but with the lower smoking prevalence, that will tend to drop off even further as time progresses. So just using lung cancer as an example of different ways to view the data that's available under the mortality tab. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please dig around and send any feedback you've got to us here. Thanks very much for watching. Happy exploring.